Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stoppage Time. This time brought to you by the power of Zoom, bringing all of us together from teachers, staff, radio shows, etc., etc., etc. I am Chris Basinger, and joining me today is my co-host, David Ordway. David, how has this pandemic treated you?
Well, I'm in my basement and I'm staring into a computer screen, and I have 3 tests next week in which I haven't done any work for the one test at all since we left school. And I'm doing fine. I'm surviving. I'm healthy. That's a plus. My family's healthy. That's a plus.
Sounds like you're having a great time. We're also joined today by reoccurring special guests, Tanner Pacifium. Tanner, how are you doing?
Good. I've finished my thesis, so that's nice. I just got some editing stuff to do, and then I only have 2 finals next week, and I only need to get a 55 on one, and then an 88 to get an A. So I'll be fine.
That's good.
I'm
Sounds good.
I'm done, and I'm graduated. Which is
Graduation, you can hold that over Zoom too. And the tech for that.
Oh, no, they're sending the gown and stuff here, so I'll just Zoom off my friends and just be like, all right, here's me. I'm just walking, shaking my stepdad's hand, just walking off.
Well, I hope you have a fun and rewarding time doing that. And then finally, our other recurring guest, Andy Healing. Andy, how are things going over there?
Pretty good. Obviously, I'm still in Auburn since I live here. But yeah, it's just been really weird with everyone gone and doing classes online, and it's really quiet without you guys. I miss everyone. Also miss everyone over at Student Media, who we get to work with every week. And yeah, we've been doing a lot of stuff through Zoom as far as Eagle Eye and things like that. So. Yeah, it's been fun. I've also been doing some YouTube reaction videos where I watch old games with people or just watch them with myself on Zoom. And that's been fun just to kind of react to that and look at some old stuff. I've been doing some Premier League games as well and watched a few of those games. So, yeah, it's, just trying to find stuff and ways to pass time.
Yeah, I got to say that video that you did of the 2001 UEFA Cup final was was a really awesome episode. Whoever was in that episode with you was also really, really good.
Yeah, he was. He was the one who decided to watch a 2-hour soccer game instead of just pull up 15-minute clips.
I think whoever that was that watched it with you thought it was worth it to do that.
Yeah, it was, and
probably didn't have anything else to do in the
that's
time.
true.
All right, so obviously, since we were talking through this, the coronavirus is still wreaking havoc across the world, and less importantly, wreaking havoc over the world of sports. But this is, of course, a sports/soccer/Premier League podcast, so that is what we are going to be talking about today. So, starting off, the Premier League, unfortunately, is unlikely to return before June 8th. The government has extended a lockdown until May 8th at least. And the ideas that I've heard is that all matches are going to be completed in a 5-week span, right? So every team has 9 or 10 games remaining left in the season. And I've heard plans that there would be an Olympic Village kind of deal where they're all in a hotel together and they're all quarantined and they're only allowed to be together and not allowed to go out, and they're going to get tested before every game or something like that. And the idea is to finish all the games before June 30th. David, do you think that's possible?
I mean, I hope it's possible.
Honest opinion.
Honest opinion. So I think it's possible. I think Britain is and England's in a bit of a different situation than the United States is. I just do. I think they're actually, I know by the statistics they're not, but I think they're technically a little bit ahead of us and how this is going to work and how the cases are going to drop. in saying that, it's not like it's going to disappear by June 8th. It's not. There's still going to be. I bet there's still 10,000 new cases a day and that kind of stuff. That's just how the statistics are showing. It doesn't just go away. In saying that, I think it is possible. If they're smart about it, they keep everybody together, kind of. The only problem I would see with having it is if you have a bunch of kids, right? You have a bunch of kids on these soccer teams. These aren't like 40-year-old men. These are, you got 23-year-olds, 22-year-olds, kids in college, that want to go have fun, want to go hang out. And I think the biggest problem is going to be keeping them all in one place and not getting exposed to someone who already has the coronavirus. But I think I like the idea of the Olympic Village. I think that would be really cool. I'd really like if they did it similar to how the World Cup did it. You have games and games and games just like that in a 2-3 week span. A lot of the players are coming back from injury, and they should be back from injury at this point. I know Tottenham would have Harry Kane, Son, and all the injured players we have Mississauga back. If you play the games in a 2 to 3 week span, they're going to tire them out. But these are not. They do it in the World Cup. These players do it in the World Cup. So I think it's possible. I think what will probably happen personally is I think we're going to go back early June. I think we'll play maybe 2 games a week and through July. I think they're going to move the summer transfer window back from July 1st to August 1st and have it run through instead of September 1st, have it run through October 1st would be my guess. But I don't know. That's just my guess.
Yeah, you did mention that it might be challenging to keep all the players, especially the younger players, following the rules and staying inside. We, of course, all saw Jack Grealish decided to go out after warning fans to not go out and ended up crashing his car. And then also, Andy, do you want to talk about Kyle Walker at all?
Yeah, we'll try to keep it a little G-rated on this show, but basically what happened with Kyle, he got, you could say, a little frisky out there in quarantine. He kind of had let's just say, a promiscuous party with some people, and it was reported by some neighbors, I believe, of him, if I have the story correct. And it went straight to Man City's board, and now they're investigating him for that. Don't know really what happened. I'm sure they might have just, punished him or in some quiet fashion. But yeah, that was quite the story, and I was like, wow, dude, have some self-control during quarantine.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a fun game of Twister over at his house. And in regards to that, they have been talking about having all the games finishing in a 5-week span, which means that you would have to be playing a game every 3 to 4 days, right? Tanner, do you think that if they play the games that quickly and not have enough time to train, or do have enough time to train and overtrain, that the players are going to get worn out and we're going to see more injuries like we did in the January period where teams didn't have that winter break that other leagues like the Bundesliga have? Do you think that's going to be a big problem? Yeah.
No, there's definitely going to be more injuries. And I think there will also be kind of a greater shift towards the traditional Big Six or whatever, just because they have the depth of the squads that other teams don't. I mean, like Everton literally has 4 midfielders, five central midfielders, and if Gylfi Sigurdsson goes down, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but if he went down, he's an important part of our lineup. And so I don't know, we wouldn't be able to replace him. Manchester City can just rotate basically 2 whole squads. And alternate them every game if they wanted to. Meanwhile, our backup goalkeeper is Martin Stecklenburg. Anyone knows who that is?
He's the GOAT. His card in FIFA 16 or 17 was that inform he had was unbelievable.
Okay, well, in real life, he hasn't played in 2 years. Since a FA Cup exit to Southampton last year, because Pickford plays all of our games. But I just think that'll be an issue. Another issue that had come up is the contracts ending. Because I mean, like, the contracts all run through June 30th, right?
Yeah.
So like if they happen to, and I think they will end up having to push it back. I don't think it'll be able to be finished by the end of June. I think maybe like mid-July would be a good date to shoot for, like to end. They'd have to figure out something as far as that's concerned, because I mean, players aren't going to play unless they're under contract. And if you have 5-year players that maybe you play every other game, even go out of contract, you're going to be kind of screwed as far as that's concerned. So I think finding a middle ground there would be important.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a contentious issue. Talking about contracts running out with players, talking about contracts running out with kit sponsors, regular sponsors, TV deals. That's a whole lot of issues. But one of the more important effects of this is how teams are going to react to coming back. Anyone can answer this, but what teams do y'all think are going to have the biggest impact, either going up or going down, positive or negative, coming back from this? Because I know that we've talked about, David, a lot of Tottenham players are going to be returning from injury. They're currently in 8th right now. Do you see them going up? Arsenal's in 9th right now, Everton 12th. Do y'all see this long break and return with maybe more players coming back from injury benefiting or hurting your teams?
I think
benefiting.
Yeah, I think it would benefit people, but I also kind of feel like that long time out without training, without actually playing with the people could cause some issues for squads that maybe haven't been together as long. Like, I think Liverpool will be good, obviously, just because they know the system. There's nothing to worry about. But potentially Everton, with Ancelotti's new system coming in, couldn't, like, just as an example, I think that we'll be fine because it's a relatively simple system to play. But, like, I think that could be an issue, is where they don't necessarily know the tactics. They're not sure what to do. But it could just lead to a oversimplifying of things and just playing football.
Jose Mourinho got 2 weeks of training in before he was forced not to train anymore with the squad. So he did, and you can have an opinion on that if you want. He, in a way, he said he got the preseason. He got a mid-season preseason in a way that he needed. He also had a training session in a park with Tengan and Doble, which I think is hilarious. But I think for teams like Tottenham, Bournemouth, injured teams, I want to say Chelsea, but at the same time, I don't really know what Chelsea's identity is. But for teams that know their identity and just were missing players, this is huge for them.
Aside from just the missing players, I think that, like, that identity, what you're saying, is going to have a huge impact. Like Sheffield United, I know they're 7th right now, and everyone's like, oh, they're going to fall. They're going to fall. They're going to fall. They're going to fall. We've been saying it all year. And they really haven't. But I think that them, because they know the way that they play, that 5-3-2 with overlapping center backs, which is just ridiculous, will be something that I think could possibly keep them in Europa League contention.
Absolutely.
At least 7th or 8th, depending on what happens with UEFA. But
I couldn't predict the top 4. I mean, I think Manchester City. I think Manchester City absolutely has it. Liverpool's going to win the league no matter what happens here. I think Leicester could fall. I just do. I think, when you have a bunch of games like this, things happen. Especially when I don't know what's happening with Champions League and Europa stuff. I'm guessing it's all going to be just null and void. Who cares? But maybe they're going to play it out. I don't know.
The amount of money in that, there's no way.
Play it out.
Yeah.
But they're not going to – I don't think that will be at the same time as the Premier League will be and the other leagues. I mean, I know the Bundesliga, there's just no way they could do it. I think this is, like, for as a Tottenham supporter, I think this is the break will help us incredibly, that we might be able to get top 4. If we didn't have the break, we wouldn't have gotten top 4. I think when you allow 2 out of your top 3 out of your best 5 players to come back from injury. 2 of your top 2 players. I think it's going to make it. I mean, Harry Kane and Son are by itself, and then you get Sissoko back too. And I think Sissoko's a top 5 player on Tottenham. I just 5 years ago or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. I thought he was the worst player on Tottenham, but now I think he's one of the best. I think we get Europa League definitely.
Okay.
But yeah,
I don't think they're getting top 4. I'm looking at the table.
Good. I think we're good.
I just don't like.
What are we, 5 points back?
Yeah, you're 5 points back. No, you're only 4 points back. But
because we play.
No, you're not. You're 7 points back. You're 7 points back at Chelsea, and then Sheffield United has a game in hand, and they're 2 points ahead of you. So theoretically, they could have be on 46 points. You have to make up a lot of points.
Well, we play Sheffield. We play Arsenal. We play Manchester.
You don't have to play Liverpool again.
We don't have to play Liverpool again.
But with Son and Kane, like, you could beat almost anybody.
I think we can, we're not going to because we're Tottenham Hotspur, but we could run the table the rest of the way. But we're not going to. I mean, we're going to lose 2 or 3 games. I already know it. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
I think from a league perspective, though, I think it's really going to feel like a new season for a lot of these clubs.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be kind of a mini season. Obviously, for City, it's going to be same old. But I think in the biggest thing that they're looking for right now is Champions League, because they right now lead 2-1 on Real Madrid by away goals when they played in Madrid. But I think even that game will be brand new, because they're going to get Hazard back before they even play another game against City. And I think there's going to be a lot of differences with teams in the Champions League, but also in the Premier League, like y'all were kind of talking about, this top 4 race can kind of get really interesting, because I think Man United is going to get a lot of people. I think, Arsenal even might filter back into the conversation. Also Tottenham, Sheffield United maybe being an outsider. So there's going to be a lot of, shifting going on. And I think it'll make for a really interesting race as far as that. I know Liverpool's got the title. Even if they slip up just because they haven't played in a while, they're going to finish it off. They're so
they got to win one game, right? They got to win one game.
Well, 2. Is it 2 or 1?
2 games.
They got 2 games.
So it was going to be Everton. So we would play against Everton, and we would needed City to lose. But then when they delayed the Everton game, it was if we beat City, because then City would drop 3 points and Liverpool would gain 3 points. Liverpool needs 6 points to go to the title.
How big was that Watford game? That Watford game. Let's just go back.
That Watford game, that was a fluke.
It's so fun. Such a moment in history. There was no.
Of course, it will be. Of course, it will be. Sure.
Every Arsenal fan was just like, whew.
Yeah, sure.
Well, no,
Yes.
I think something it could be kind of comparable to, if they do this 2-week, 3-week, or 5-week thing, is kind of like, at least from my thought, would be like the NCAA tournament, where you have all of these games over just consistently for 5 weeks, and they're all good games. It's going to be.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
I think if they do that, it'll be an incredible viewing spectacle. But I don't know how feasible it's going to be to get it started as early as they want.
I just don't know when it's going to start. I think there's a decent chance it starts the first week of June. That would be my guess. Because they're not going to come back. It's not going to be oh, you guys can play your games next week and you haven't trained. They got to give you 2-3 weeks of training beforehand. And you said that Britain kept their thing until May 8th or something like that, which is 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it really just depends on – we will absolutely see the Premier League back before American sports, in my opinion. We got the NFL draft next week, but that's not a sporting event. Everyone's happy about that. But, we don't have –
The Eagles are going to draft a wide receiver. Why wouldn't we be happy about that?
But I think we can see it in June. I wish we had sports right now. Andy has been watching old soccer games. I sat the other day and I watched the Tottenham yesterday, because yesterday was the anniversary for 1 year since we played Man City in the last round of the Champions League. I sat yesterday and watched that. So I'm sorry, Andy, but it's fun to watch the old games, but like when you know what's going to happen, it's not as fun as when you like are watching a game live and one of your players scores an unbelievable game-winning goal and you freak out like Ajax last year.
You have to watch games you don't really remember. You literally didn't watch from like 2005.
You have to watch games before you were born or when you were 2, like I've been doing. Yes. But, of course, England is not the only country in the world. So we're going to do a quick roundup of all the other top leagues and some of the leagues that have already ended their season. So Germany, there was talk this week that Germany might be the most likely country to return their major sports, but just recently Germany banned large public events until August 31st, so for the entire summer. So that means that if the Bundesliga were to return, then the rest of the season would be played behind closed doors. And seeing as how fans are very much against these quote ghost games, that seems to be in question. But teams in the top 2 leagues have been going to training in person, not over Zoom like the Premier League has been doing. And Bundesliga leaders will be meeting on April 23rd to discuss the possibility of returning behind closed doors. In other news, in La Liga, the country of Spain is currently on lockdown until April 26th at the least, and they have 3 ideas of how the season is going to be played out. Also, in regards to European games. So the first scenario is that either games are played in June every 3 days behind closed doors, and then all of Europe's games are to be played in July. And this just has to correlate with whatever all the other top 5 leagues are going to be doing. And then scenario B is domestic and Europe start in June, and they both end at July, so you have overlapping games. And then finally, La Liga plays all of their games in July, and then Europe in August. And of course, Champions League has been discussed as a major talking point, considering how big the competition is and how their games could potentially be moved until all domestic leagues finish their games, with the final being potentially played on August 30th, which could overlap with the start of next season. But then, of course, other leagues have already stopped their season. So Belgium, a couple of weeks ago, declared Club Brugge, as it is pronounced. I learned that recently. They gave them the title. They were, of course, 15 points ahead with only 1 game remaining, so the title was already theirs. They just ended the season. And then some recent controversy out of Scotland, who earlier this week decided to end their lower 3 leagues, not the SPFL, but the Championship, League 1 and League 2, after Dundee United changed their vote. And the bottom teams in the top league and the top teams were declared champions and were relegated respectively. But moving on to the only top, if you could call them, they are currently the top in the world still playing. The only country still playing soccer games, the Belarus Premier League, whose Belarus's president famously has informed his citizens that the, quote, way to beat the coronavirus is to drink vodka and go to saunas. So good advice from him. And, of course, everyone knows this team. It's Slutsky is in first place right now. My favorite, just based off names, Energetic, spelled E-N-E-R-G-E-T-Y-K.
No. The best team based off names is the team that is FC Dynamo Brest. That's the one.
Yeah, that one's good too. I also like Torpedo. I think that's a cool name. But Energetic is currently in fourth place. Torpedo's in second, and Gorodea is in third. So, gotta love the Belarus Premier League. Can't find a way to watch it, but I've been trying to keep up with it. But then, moving on to our next talking point, probably one of the more contentious things that soccer is going to have to deal with is transfers. Just because teams may be less inclined to make big signings due to the financial constraints and the amount of money that's going to be lost because of these TV deals. I know that La Liga is looking at, in their three scenarios, they could be losing anywhere from 130 million euros to over 800 million euros. But these next players that we are going to talk about cost nothing because they're going to be free agents and walk out at the end of the season. So starting with Everton, their highest rated, I would say, free agent is Leighton Baines. Do you think he's going to be re-signed?
He's gonna re-sign. We're gonna re-sign him for another 1-year contract, just for cover for Digne. I mean, like that is the thing that I am. That and us signing Gabriel Magalhaes from Lille, the center back, are the two things I'm most sure of as far as the transfer window is concerned. Just because
How old is Leighton Baines?
He's 34, I think.
34.
It's just
So
gonna
he's
be
still got a couple years. Yeah.
Yeah. He's played well when he's played. He had a goal in against Leicester in the FA Cup, I want to say. It was just like straight out of about 2006. It was ridiculous. It was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I literally went through like all of our transfer rumors, and let me see. Alan Bellotti, Ciro Immobile, and James Rodriguez were all linked with us, and that is literally only because of Carlo Ancelotti.
Of course.
We are not signing any of them. I don't like.
No. Do you think that any of those were likely before all of this, or that it was just all going to be speculation?
We were never gonna do that.
Never.
Maybe Allen, but they're asking like 50 million for Allen, and we just don't have that money to give. I don't know. There's also rumors about Moise leaving for Roma because he's friends with Nicolo Zaniolo, and his dad said he wanted to come back to Italy, but then Moise Kean came out and was like, Dad, shut up. So I don't think that's going to happen. We were linked with Daniel Maldini, who, of course, is Paulo Maldini's son.
Yeah.
He just signed a new contract with AC Milan, and like it wouldn't make any sense.
I find it very unlikely that the son of Paolo Maldini would leave AC Milan.
Yeah.
I find that very unlikely.
We've been linked with Jesse Lingard, which cool. That's not
David, do you rate Jesse Lingard?
As in like what I would say he's worth as a free transfer. He's terrible.
Do you think he could actually score more than a single goal if he were to play an entire season for Everton?
Yes.
You think it's possible?
He could score 2.
I mean, I just don't think he's that good. He's a great bench player.
Yeah, and like we're linked all over the place. The dumbest one is definitely Everton Suarez from Gremio. Just I swear they do it because of the name. Like it has been constant for the last like 6 months. It's like, oh, Carlo Ancelotti loves him. It's like, oh, he's definitely going to come over, and there's no indication that that's actually happening whatsoever. Him and Irving Lozano are going to be like the two people that we've been linked with the most that never play for us. Like, at all. He just doesn't fit the profile. He's a right-footed left winger, and we have like 12 of those. We need.
Are you still looking for that left-footed right winger?
Yes, which explains all of the connections to Cengiz Under, because we've been linked with him for the last like 3 windows.
I have no idea.
For Roma, he's like 22 in Turkish. He's not bad. He's good. One that I'm actually excited about though is Mohamed Ihatarian. He plays for PSV. I think he was their representative in the Stay and Play Cup.
Oh,
he was the one that played.
I've heard of him.
He's young and he's really good. And he was recruited by Brands. to sign. So that would be really, really cool if we could get him. But I really don't think we will. There was a thing that came out a couple days ago. It was like Grealish, but he's low on our priority list, and we'd have to sign like 4 other players before we sign him. And I don't think we have the money for that because of our financial fair play stuff. Like we have to basically turn a profit or
speaking of Jack Grealish, Aston Villa is currently in 19th right now, 2 points out of relegation, and it's seeming more and more likely that he's going to be leaving at the end of the season. I would say the highest linked or talked about target club for him has been Manchester United. So do y'all think that that's very likely, or that he could go to another club?
He's not
throwing out Arsenal, but they already have enough attackers.
I think any of the top 6 could get him. I think if it's going to be any club, it's going to be Manchester United, Tottenham, or Chelsea. And I don't think it's going to be Chelsea because of Hakeem Ziyech.
Right.
I think I'm saying his name right.
That's an incredible signing.
For only 45 million too.
Yeah, I mean he's a little old. He's like 27, but like that's a lot of money to put into a 27-year-old player. So I mean,
Chelsea are losing a few players at the end of the season. They're losing.
We're getting 2 of them.
Really? I think more so what Lampard wants is he's pushing out some of those older players, right, and trying to allow more time for players like Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham without those distractions of Giroud and
Willian.
I think
you're gonna get Giroud as well.
And Willian wants to come to Tottenham because of Jose Mourinho, and I'm totally down. I'm a big Willian guy. I really like him. I think he fits our system well. Giroud is also linked, which I just want it for the Bants because I just do over Arsenal. Chelsea.
Play at 3 different London clubs.
Yeah.
And then retire at West Ham.
I mean, like Tottenham's going to be a free agent. Like we're going to be in for Thomas Meunier from PSG, who I do not want, but we're linked with him pretty heavily.
I know that I know it has been said that Arsenal players go to Chelsea to win trophies, but what would you say Arsenal and Chelsea players go to Tottenham to do, David?
Participate.
Jose Mourinho and don't win trophies.
I think so.
3 times.
Harry Kane was linked heavily away by.
Oh yeah.
By some people who are not Tottenham fans and are actually Chelsea journalists.
Wasn't it like 200 million to Manchester United or something?
It said that it was 200 million to Manchester United, which there will not be any 200 million transfers this transfer.
That was a ridiculous number. Like there's
the number's ridiculous, but the number is actually, in my opinion, accurate because Daniel Levy is not going to sell a guy on a 4-year contract still for less than 200 million when he's your best player, and the fans would erupt, especially after all this stuff with the chart paying the workers that we went through. Finally, he switched happily, but there was just no way we were gonna. I mean, I think Harry Kane though. I think we have to win something this upcoming year. I mean, in all honesty, we have the best coach that was available to win something. I mean, Jose Mourinho is a winning coach. He's a serial winner. So I think that we have to win something for Harry Kane to stay now. But I think I don't know. I think we're going to actually be active in the transfer window. It sounds like we already got Max Aarons. It's not like it sounds like we're in the final stages of that, which would be great.
Well, if you're signing Aarons, why would you go after Meunier?
Because I think we're going to sell Aurier.
Oh.
I don't know that for a fact, but also Meunier can play center defensive mid.
That's what I was thinking.
I think there's just going to be a lot of moving pieces, not in the attacking range, but like defensively.
I mean, attack-wise, y'all are set attack-wise. I mean,
we need a cam, which is why I think
Grealish
is definitely a possibility. I saw another.
You get Erickson then.
I don't want Erickson back. I don't want Erickson back. There was another name that I saw as a cam roll. I mean,
Coutinho.
Coutinho. It was Coutinho.
Really?
Yeah. We're pretty
surprised.
heavily linked with Coutinho, which I would.
I'm not surprised that he's been linked with teams, just because Bayern aren't going to hold on to him, and Barcelona aren't going to want to keep him.
Barca
especially with
needs
the whole
Neymar
money. Rumors and everything.
If they want to, there's rumors Barca's trying to sign Neymar and Lautaro Martinez. They're
That's
getting
every year. That's every year.
they need
Every year. Yeah, every year. I put down Neymar's name, and then I took it off my list because it was just going to be ridiculous to even talk about that. But David, you did mention that if Harry Kane stays on for another, let's say, 2 seasons and doesn't win any trophies, and there's
I thought we have
chance that he might-
season.
1 season. Okay.
Yeah.
If he stays on for another 1 season and doesn't win any trophies, then there might be a chance that he goes somewhere. Do you think it would be more likely for him to go to another English club or the New England Patriots?
So to answer your question, I think the only English club that we'd maybe sell him to is Manchester City. But in saying that, I don't think if there's anything I know about Daniel Levy, people have their opinions on him as a businessman. I think he's a brilliant chairman when it comes to transfers. And if you look at our best players of all time, have we ever sold a best player to a London rival? I know Sol Campbell went to Arsenal, but that was on a free transfer. That was not a sell. Harry Kane, going to Manchester United is never going to happen. That would never happen. I think Manchester City, just because they're not technically a rival of ours, but I think if he would go anywhere, it would be Real Madrid or Barcelona. I don't think there's anybody else that would be. People are like PSG. He doesn't want to go to the Farmers League.
I think it's hard to understand him when he speaks English, so I don't know how I would understand him if he was speaking Spanish or French.
Mm-hmm.
pull Kieran Trippier and just not learn it. Or Gareth Bale, I'm sorry. Trippier's learned it. Gareth Bale has continued.
Gareth Bale.
I think Gareth Bale's a perfect example, though. Like, we sold him for the world record fee at the time to Real Madrid. Even, like, next year, for example, Harry Kane would still have 3 years left on his contract. He would go for a world record fee. He just would. I don't think we'd sell him for anything less. I mean, maybe 150, 160, 170 million, but, like and it's just along the lines of who's going to have the money to want to have the money to splash that out on a striker. And if you look at the teams, Real Madrid, they would, but they have a bunch of young kids that I know they want. Like, and two, Barcelona absolutely could. You still have Suarez. They have young kids too. They have Griezmann.
Their financial situation isn't great. Like, there's talks that they bring back their former president from like 2003 to 2010, I think, because he was good at managing their spending and, of course, building up La Masia and like what they're famous for.
That's been one of their biggest problems is building up their youth. And La Masia, I mean, it's famous, and they just haven't really been doing enough with that. So.
Yeah, I don't want to see him go. He's my favorite player. He's my idol in Tottenham. But I think we need to win something next year. I think we have a chance to. You give Jose Mourinho, you're not going to be able to go buy, Paulo Dybala or a major player, but you can get the players in the positions that you need. Now, we're heavily linked with Onana, the goalkeeper from Ajax, as a replacement for Lloris. I could see that happening.
Where do Lloris go? Where will he?
He's been linked with some of the Italian clubs. He's been linked with going back to France. I know the only player that I could say that we've sold in league is Kyle Walker to Manchester City. And as I said before, Manchester City's kind of not – I don't count them as a rival club. We just never had that with them. I mean, they're not Arsenal, Chelsea, or Manchester United. Liverpool, I don't really count either, but Liverpool's never really interested in buying any of our players anyway. So, yeah.
I know Onana – oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
Oh, no, what were you saying?
What? Oh, okay. Okay, so I know Onana was linked back with Barcelona, where he came from. He was in their academy. But I mean, he'd have to sit behind Ter Stegen, and that
And
would.
they have Neto too, and I just don't see that happening.
I think they could sell him on.
Oh, they could. I think Onana's. I think Ajax also with the financial crisis is going to need money, and I think they're going to start selling. I mean, they already sold Hakeem Ziyech. I think Danny Vanderbeek or Donnie, whatever his name is, he could go. Onana will probably go too.
Yeah.
You know, teams have to rebuild. This is the time. Tottenham is one of them. Now's the time to get players. And in this transfer window, you're going to see players leave for cheaper than they should. You won't. I don't think you'll see as many players leave, but you will see players leave for a discount price.
Yeah,
I
we
will
did see a
say,
big exodus from Ajax last season, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another one this season, just with Onana and Ziyech already going. And then also one of City's biggest players, David Silva, will be departing at the end of the season. He's already said that before the season. Andy, do you think that? I mean, I probably already know the answer to this, but do you think City has the depth to replace him at the moment, or the quality?
yeah, I think they have the depth. Obviously, David Silva was such a unique part of Man City's midfield, linking kind of with Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan. I don't think it's going to require much of a transfer move because you've got guys like Phil Foden, just mentioned Gundogan, and De Bruyne will still be there. So it's not really much of a concern. It's kind of more. I mean, you're still gonna have Fernandinho as well because he's actually looking to re-sign a contract. I was looking at that on Manchester City's news site, so he might be staying with the club during the summer. So hopefully, kind of with all four of those guys, they can kind of fill that gap that Silva made. Because I mean, I feel like except for De Bruyne. They don't all have the quality that David Silva had, but they're still really good. So I'm not really too worried there. I think coming into this summer, obviously, Leroy Sané is going to be the big talk. Will he go to Bayern Munich? Will he stay at Man City? He's linked very heavily with them, but also apparently PSG and PSG and Real Madrid are in the mix. And even Real Madrid has actually talked to City about giving us Gareth Bale for Leroy Sané and a whole hunk of money.
They're trying to get rid of Gareth Bale.
They really are. They've been trying to get rid of Wales.
He has ridiculous. He's got like Ozil money, like weekly wages, like higher than Ozil. I think it's like $500K a week. It's like ridiculous.
Like Sanchez money right there.
Well, here's the thing about if Bale came to Man City, I don't know what place we would have for him because we already Aguero has one more year left, and his contract runs out. So City's gonna look for a striker, but like Gareth Bale's not the solution. Like David, I will say with Harry Kane and you talking about maybe City might be an option if they were to sell him maybe next year. I could see that happening because like City's gonna need a striker just about as good as Aguero was for City because I think you can't just sell off or can't just let a guy leave your club like that and not having one is good enough to replace him. But I think with that Bale, I don't really see that happening. I think Real Madrid's just trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, especially with Sterling. I just don't see him. I don't see the need for him. Of course, I haven't seen the need for a lot of signings that City has made over the past 2 years and flaunting a lot of money. But it seems to have worked for him.
Well, that's been the problem, though, is like João Cancelo is actually kind of unhappy right now at City because like he came in, it was a big transfer. Thought he'd get a lot of playing time, but really hasn't because City's defense was – I mean, it's not been great, but, like, they still have guys who have been playing ahead of him since he got there, and he's kind of not happy. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be – I think we're going to see an overhaul again in the defense with City because what's going to happen is they're going to, kind of – Pep's going to, I guess, shift the old guys and bring in more because I think right now Company, was the guy that kind of kept City's defense in shape. But now that Laporte's been struggling with injuries, there's really not a lot of stability. I'd say Zinchenko's pretty good, and he'll stay. John Stones may or may not. We'll see how he does. But I just think that City's going to go out and buy some more players because right now they're just not really set with how the defense is right now.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to see that Otamendi is not a one-for-one replacement for Vincent Kompany. And speaking of defense, Tottenham is going to be losing Jan Vertonghen at the end of the season. So, David, do you think that, like City, Tottenham are going to need a defensive overhaul masterminded by one Jose Mourinho?
Something to say.
I think Max Aarons will come in. If I'm confident on anything, it's Williams coming and Max Aarons is coming. But I don't think we'll be buying a center back. We don't really need one. With Japhet Tanganga, I think he's unbelievable for 20 years old. I think he's going to be a superstar for us, and he's going to play center back. Davinson Sanchez is 23 years old. Toby Alderweireld just signed a new 4-year contract. So we have our defensive captain back. Eric Dyer wants to play more defense, and as much as I don't want to see Eric Dyer play soccer, he actually is pretty good at center back, so I'll take it. And plus, we have other young kids. I think if we'll see anything, we'll see I want to see a left back purchase. I heard it might be Grimaldo from Benfica. I'd love to have him. I think he would be great. We've been linked with Alex Tellez, but I think Grimaldo's much more of an actual thing that will happen. I don't know. I don't see we need a defensive midfielder. There's that kid from Lyon that we've been linked with. Their center defensive mid, he's 20. We also are linked with the president or the head guy at Lyon to come and be our director of football, which I would love that. I think we're going to sign 3 or 4 players, one of them being – actually, I put it this way. I think we're going to buy 3 or 4 players. I think we're going to sign 6, 2 of the players being free transfers. But I don't think we're going to spend a lot of money. I think the most money we'd spend on a player is $40 million for Grimaldo or $40 million for Onana. Max Aarons is going to cost $15 million, $20 million at most. I don't see us buying. It also depends on who goes down. If Aston Villa goes down, I could see us chasing after Jack Grealish. I know we've always liked him. But then it's Jack Grealish will cost $45 million, $50 million, because if they go down. So we'll see what happens. I don't see a big defensive overhaul. I see absolutely a new right back, and I see one other defensive player, but I don't know who it is.
Yeah. We've all seen how Jack Grealish has decided to spend some of his time, but other players have decided to spend their time by sitting in and playing in a FIFA competition that is called ESPN's Stay and Play Cup, and I believe Andy has a few words to say about this.
Yeah, so ESPN has been broadcasting EA Sports' Stay and Play Cup, where players have been playing against each other for their clubs. Some of the names being Cesar Azpilicueta, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Juan Bernat, Justin Kluivert, I guess that's how you say it, for AS Roma. Other players like Phil Foden for Manchester City. Also a bunch of Scandinavian clubs like Ajax's players on FC.
Ajax player is American, Serginho Dest.
Yeah.
Or right back to the future.
And Serge Aurier has played for Tottenham. Actually got beat 3-2 by Fabio Silva for FC Porto. Phil Foden got beat yesterday. I watched that. He lost to Nabil Bahoy of AIK in Sweden. And then Trent Alexander-Arnold actually advanced to the next round, beating Vinicius of Real Madrid 4-1. He'll face off against some Deer Gardens IF in the next round. I believe that's today. I believe they're playing those right now as we speak.
That's just lost 7-2.
It's incredible.
FC Copenhagen's Mohamed Mo Darami beat Ajax's player 7-2.
Dang.
The Scandinavian teams are just ridiculous. Like, the Scandinavian players are incredible. Apparently, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the only really big name clubs in this tournament that are left are Roma, Liverpool, Lyon, and Porto.
Yeah, and Porto lost earlier today too.
Yeah.
So
now Porto's not even in. So it's like all these. Yeah, it's all these little small clubs.
Yeah, that's I haven't been able to watch any of it, but they're only allowed to play with their own teams, right?
Yeah, you can only play with your own team.
But they're all rated the same.
Okay.
They're all rated. Every player is rated 85.
Okay.
So it's not. Yeah, I thought about that too, and then I watched the stream, and it was all these players are rated 85. I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That would be a complete disadvantage.
City would have a pretty good advantage if they were to play like that. Yeah, so if you want to watch that, that's something that you can. Some of the esports going on right now. But then also big money moves happening in the world of Premier League as the Newcastle takeover takes place. Of course, Newcastle fans have never really been fond of Mike Ashley, and they're finally getting their wishes by signing a deal with Saudi's Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, with PCP Capital Partners for a $300 million buyout of the Northeastern club. Of course, you saw this in a similar situation with Manchester City about 12 years ago when they were bought out by Sheikh Mansour from the Abu Dhabi group. But they were bought out in 2008, and it only took them 4 seasons to win the title. Andy, let me start with you. Do you see Newcastle winning the Premier League in 4 seasons?
Not 4 seasons, but no, it's going to take a while. But, I mean, if they have some kind of progression, maybe a little bit – it may take a little bit longer. But if they have a progression where they end up doing it, I think they could. I mean, back in the day, people don't realize that Newcastle was – I mean, they were pretty good. They were challenging. They had Alan Shearer. Yeah, Alan Shearer. They had they actually really had a rivalry with Arsenal back in the early 90s, 2000s. They were
to come back.
Yeah. And
focus on us as much.
yeah, true. But yeah, I mean, Newcastle's kind of had that club that they almost remind me of kind of Aston Villa. Like Aston Villa, was kind of that rich blue blood club, but they're just still sitting in the mid-table bottom half of the Premier League and not doing anything. But I think Newcastle does have the resources and the club and the facilities to really make this growth if that's possible. So maybe with this move and with this buyout, that might happen. I mean, obviously City, I mean, I think the testament to City's success over those couple years is the amount of transfers, the amount of players that we've bought. And we bought them for quality. I mean, because we got David Silva, Tevez, Aguero, company. It really just fell into place. And I think obviously City was maybe just a little bit ahead of where Newcastle is right now. So I think it might just be a little bit longer. But if Newcastle are to do this, I think it's possible.
Yeah, they've already said that they've decided to keep Mike or Steve Bruce on board as their manager. Do y'all think that's the right decision at this point? And do y'all think that will benefit them going into these transfer windows and just seeing how the team is set up? Open to anyone.
I mean, I think I don't know. I think they're going to have a huge change. They're already linked with Allegri coming in as manager, which sucks for whoever their manager is now. I forget his name.
Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, Steve Bruce got a really bad rap, and he's done a decent job with that Newcastle team. He's done
Whoa.
I'm sorry. But he's done a decent job with the Newcastle team. And, I heard Rafa Benitez might come back. That's been linked. I think we're going to see a big change in Newcastle. I don't see them winning the league in 4 years like Andy. I could see them battling for Europa League, top 5, top 4 maybe. They could kind of pull like what a Leicester and Wolves have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I said earlier top 4 we needed to get, but actually we only need to get top 5. Sorry, Andy, because you guys aren't in Champions League.
Pending the decision.
Pending decision.
Now look, coronavirus may thwart off 1 year of this ban.
It might.
You'd still have 2 years. You'd still be a 2-year ban.
No,
They're
there's.
going to drop it.
I think they're going to drop it a year.
I think first of all, they're going to drop it to a year. But second of all, I think we're going to be able to play next year because what's going to happen, all this coronavirus is going to circle around and then help us back off the lawyers and attorneys and all that stuff. And then we'll get to play 1 more year. Then they'll put us on the ban, and it'll only be 1 year. And then we will have our trophy by then, so it won't matter.
But we'll see about that.
But I think Newcastle. I mean, they're in 13th right now. I think I could see them battling for top 4 in 4 or 5 years. I don't think they're going to get it, but I could see them battling for it. I mean, a lot of things have to happen at a club for a club to get up to the next level, you know. A lot of money needs to be spent, a lot of money right now that Newcastle needs to totally rebuild their brand. They totally need to rebuild everything. They need to become a top club again, and that takes – I mean, I put it this way. Tottenham has been a mid-table club now for the past – or was a mid-table club for 30 years. 30 years they're a mid-table club. And in 2007 and 2008 – you know, or 2009, 2010, we made it in the top 4, which was awesome, right? Which was really cool. But at the same time, we were still a mid-table club. You know, Leicester won the league. They were a mid-table club. Tottenham has now just gotten into the Big Six over the past 2 or 3 years. But we're looking at a time from when we had Bale and Modric to now. That was a 10-year period, you know. I think Newcastle's going to have that same 10-year period. Manchester City went through a period of about 5 to 6 years of that, of rebuilding. They won the league, but it's the same kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, well, Tottenham didn't have these oil barons to support them. Tanner, go on.
Okay, aside from the fact that MBS is a horrible person, terrible person, runs not a great country as far as rights for people go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, putting that aside, I just don't think that what Manchester City did is possible now with the financial fair play rules. And like, you really don't have to look any further than Everton. Like, we have this, and it's not nowhere near on the same level, but there's only so much money that you can invest into a team. It's not like he can throw all $260 billion or whatever that he has into a soccer team. Like, that's insane. You can only do so much. And with what we've seen with Farhad Mashiri and now Usmanov, like, you can only do so much. But with the financial fair play rules, you can't have sustained losses, which is correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, but like the first few years of City's rebuild where they were buying players, they were taking losses because they didn't have the revenue to make that up.
Mm-hmm.
If you take $100 million losses every single year, you only have a 3-year period to, I think, break even. Or you can only lose like $135 million or something in a 3-year rolling period. to stay clear with financial fair play. And like, we lost $109 million last year, and we brought in Yerry Mina, Luka Dean, Andre Gomes, who are players. They play for us, and they're good for us, but they're not the types of players that would be needed to turn around like Newcastle. If they can do it with a sustained like plan and maybe lose $25 million a year instead of $250 million a year, then maybe. I just think it'll take a lot longer than it would have 10 years ago.
You also need academy players. I think that's one of the big things that no one ever talks about is like Tottenham is top, Big Six now, but like Harry Kane is an academy player. Danny Rose was an academy player. Dele Alli we bought for $5 million from MK Dons at like 17. Harry Winks is an academy. We have a lot of academy players. A lot of our club, we just spent like there's two different ways of doing it. There's the Man City way of doing it. There's the Tottenham way of doing it. Neither one of them, in my opinion, is wrong. Neither one. They're just different ways of doing it. I know Man City breached the financial fair play rules, and that's that issue. But like, you're still allowed to spend money. You're still allowed to buy big players. That doesn't make me think any less of them. But like, I think, but Man City has academy players. Phil Foden's an academy player. You have to have academy players to go to the next level. Newcastle has the Longstaffs, but like they're not superstars.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see. But
We'll see.
I think Tottenham route for them makes the most sense. I mean, kind of taking that 10, 15-year period, and it may even be like longer because you're right. You had Bale and Modric, and 10 years on, you're there. But you had to get Bale and Modric, so I think it'll take like 15 years. It's going to be a while, but I mean, they'll be better. I think they'll be mid-table instead of bottom half. But it'll be interesting to see.
I could definitely see them competing, like you said, for that Wolves kind of position for Europa League. I think another big part is going to be the draw. So actually luring players into Newcastle, because we saw with like City had an easier time drawing players because you're going to live in Manchester. It's a big city. You're not out in the middle of nowhere in England. I just wonder for those international players if there's going to be a big draw to Newcastle, because if you're not drawing based off the city or the team, then you're going to have to be drawing based off the manager, right? Because you have Pep drawing players into Manchester City. You have now Mourinho, who is going to be drawing more players to Tottenham. Ancelotti, exactly, drawing players. Jurgen Klopp even a few years ago. So I just wonder if keeping Steve Bruce for this next season is going to help them in that, or just he's going to be a transitional guy and he's only going to stay on for one season while the owners find their feet.
He's a Sam Allardyce.
I don't know.
He's a big Sam. That's what Steve Bruce is right now. He's there to keep your team up. He's there to do the job that needs to be done, and that's no hate to Steve Bruce or Big Sam. They're good managers. They're not elite. They're not elite. I mean, look at what Big Sam did at Everton.
He kept us up. He didn't do anything. He literally did nothing. We were in first position after he left.
He kept Steve Bruce, not Steve Bruce. Sam Allardyce, Big Sam kept Crystal Palace up that one season. Like, he came in, kept them up. He's done it a few times. He's not a big manager. He's not a guy that's gonna Newcastle need a Rafa Benitez coming back would be brilliant for them. I think he's brilliant. But I think Allegri coming in, Allegri's managed Juventus. Allegri is a big name. He could pull big players, especially from the Italian league. I don't know. We have to see what happens.
He could always, Allegri could always join. And since Newcastle is also white and black, he could try and convince them that they're actually joining Juventus.
Don't worry. It just got really cold in Turin. That's all. It just snows now.
Speaking of kits, that was a good transition right there. Speaking of kits, we have some speculation over leaked kits of top sides. I haven't seen any leaked of Everton. But
I have three designs that I can share with you that are really good. Because we're switching sponsors and like kit makers and side and
Right,
arm
yeah.
sponsors. We're losing Angry Birds.
it's a sad day.
So sad. So
It's a
sad.
sad day. But let's start off with alphabetically with Arsenal. It doesn't look bad, right? So all I've seen is the design where it's like kind of arrows all over their kit, and they're keeping that deep red color. I'm looking at a graphic right now of someone who put that design,
Yeah.
but because a lot of the times you only see like the badge and the kit sponsor, and then what design it's going to be for like the main part of the kit, and not actually the whole kit. So you don't see the collar or the shoulders or the sleeves, so you only see the main design. But it doesn't look bad to me. The home kit doesn't look bad.
The away
Yeah.
kit's cool.
The
Yellow one?
away,
No, it's the white one. It's the white one.
yeah, the white away kit looks good. The third kit, which is the turquoise with the peach emblem and the peach Adidas, not a fan of.
No, but I mean, I'm not a fan of any Arsenal kit because it's Arsenal.
Hold on. What if I share my screen? We can see it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
go ahead.
I was trying to look it up and I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
found them on footy headlines. So
Yeah,
what were you
that's
saying?
what I used.
The away? You wanted the away kit?
Yeah, the away kit's the white one. And that's
Wow.
Yeah.
it's kind of. I mean, I like Arsenal's white kits. They
Oh,
look-
is that like official from Adidas?
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
I mean, they usually this time of year is usually when they really get leaked pretty heavily. Like I think we know all three of Tottenham's kits now. Like we just
I like that.
the
That's
white's cool. Yeah, I'm into the white one. That's really neat.
Yeah, the white's cool. Go to the third one. Go to the
Third one?
Yeah.
All right.
See, I just don't like that one.
I don't like it either.
same that color.
Well, okay. So the dark blue is okay, but I don't like the peach on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when the kits change the color of the emblem, so it's all like one color on it. Like you either do that really well or really poorly, right? So Liverpool, when we changed, probably like
with the blue.
4 or 5 seasons back from like the big emblem to just this, you can do all of this with one color because it's just the Liverbird and the LSC. So it works with white and it works with gold. But when you're changing into like a rainbow color, like the electric blue that we have on the third kit this season, and especially the away kit this season, where we have white and blue and it looks like Tottenham's kit, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's a really clean looking jersey though. I just like those colors together.
The kit I'm wearing right now, it literally looks like I'm a bulldozer over here.
At least you're not wearing the Starburst.
Oh yeah, the Starburst mango throw up jersey that we have.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What did they leak? What are their ones that are leaked now? What do they look like?
Let me show you.
Yeah.
I like our home jersey.
City. Or actually, let's go to City.
I like that. I like that. That's clean.
It
looks like a pool.
Unique.
It looks like a pool.
Like the bottom of a pool. That's what it is. It's perfect.
It's designed after the street mural right here that they made.
I like that.
Yeah.
I saw that all 3 kits were going to be drawing inspiration. Well, I'm not sure about the third kit. The second kit is definitely going to be drawing inspiration from city architecture.
It is, and this is fire.
Yeah.
That's clean too. I like that too.
I don't know how I feel about black away jerseys. I know it's probably a normal thing, but like I just can't get behind it. Although I definitely bought the black Everton third kit this year.
Yeah, I mean I have the black and gold keeper kit from this season, but I think a black third kit, but maybe not a black away kit.
What is
but
this?
This just looks like
wow
to me.
What is
Wow.
that?
That
That
Paisley?
looks- I don't like that.
What is that
What
even
is-
based on?
I don't even know.
Dude, it looks like
They took a
Carol
picture of a
Baskin's scarf.
disease under a microscope, and
It
that's all
says
is.
introduced a garish design in vibrant colors for their third kit, and it seems like it's just
It's so pansy.
Oh my gosh. No, it looks like something my nana would wear.
It looks like Vincent Van Gogh made their jerseys or
Oh my
something.
gosh.
Looks
Oh
like a
my
background
I
of
hope that I hope that comes out. I want to see
I'm gonna
that.
get that. Go
We
to,
better.
go to, yeah.
So Liverpool's home kits are the same as they are every year, red.
Oh, of course they're red. They're all red.
Oh, they have blue though. They have blue in it this
No,
time.
it's green.
Oh, they're trying to be Christmassy this year.
There it is.
No, we have been wearing green. I really, really like this kit.
It's
completely
clean.
wrong. That's not a good picture. Scroll to the other picture where it's just the top. Scroll
Oh,
down a
just-
little bit. No, keep going.
Oh.
No. The,
Down?
I'm looking at one where it's just like the top half. Yeah, like that. I really like it. The only thing that bothers me about it is the back of the collar, and apparently this is just what Nike is doing this season because it's very similar to I think it's the same color that Tottenham is going to be using for their home kit. You don't have to switch to that right now, but that is what convinces me that this is the official one, is because of the collar design. And there's also like a kind of, I'm not sure if you can find it, but there's like a stripe kind of design on the side. That's the same as the Tottenham home kit. So even though Nike said that they would be like changing it up a little bit, I think they're still going to have like a general home design, but like the away and the third kit is going to be different for every club. Hopefully the keeper kit isn't, I haven't seen any pictures of keeper kits, but hopefully it's not the same. Like Adidas had that tiger stripe for everything. Yeah, you can kind of see the stripe on the side right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, go to the away kit for Liverpool. Yeah.
Ooh.
Now that looks like a pool.
This looks like
But that looks like a 19.
yeah, that looks like the Tottenham kit from last season, right?
Yeah, it does. It
It
does.
looks like that cup that you drank soda out of in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, it does. I would have rather had like I have a white and green with the same green that's on the trim of the home kit. I would have wanted one of those, like kind of like what we wore in the 90s. This is just a bit too much for me. Too much design going on. But like it's not bad. I'm not gonna buy it, but it's not bad.
Let's check out
The
your
third
third.
kit though is special.
Yeah, I actually like the third kit.
The third kit just looks like our third kit this season, but instead of electric blue, it's pink. So that's a way
That
better
one?
kit. That black and gold one from 2008 is so much better.
So it's like a checkerboard.
Yeah,
Like
those are just all the black kits that we've had so far. It doesn't include the goalkeeper kit.
So
But
that's gonna be it.
That's
yeah,
good.
like I'm not. Yeah, like they could have done a better job. I really like the home kit. We're gonna be wearing those for like 30 out of the 38 games, anyways.
Let's
But
look at Tottenham's.
yeah, Tottenham's.
I'm a
So
big fan of Tottenham's kids. I really like them.
That's like a football jersey.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Harry Kane stay.
I like it. I think it's
Scroll
clean.
down.
No,
Yeah.
it looks like I don't like the shoulder. The
I
shoulder.
don't like the shoulders, but I like the
Remember
design.
Southampton's this
It
year.
looks so
Actually-
tight fitting.
No, it's the same colors as the 16-17 season, because if you look at the inside of the color, so the color is the same as the Liverpool one, right? Yeah, that's a great picture right there. But the yellow, right? They've used the yellow before.
Yeah, we went back to the yellow again, and I like our third kit's all yellow, and our away kit's dope.
Yeah, let's check out your way.
I'm still gonna buy it. Like I'm still gonna
Ooh.
buy it.
It's
Yeah,
growing.
the away kit is too much like it's too much like Arsenal's. I
It's
would
like
say.
brightened.
It does. That's why I like it. I like the green.
I don't
Yeah,
like
but the. Is that
I don't like the
sand
accent
on the
color.
side?
I
I'm
like
not
it.
sure how I feel about that.
The,
I don't think that one's the. Oh,
the
yeah.
third kit's all yellow.
Wait,
like-
yeah, let's check out the third kit. Hold
third
on.
kit-
Yeah, the third
I
kit
think the
looks
third
decent.
kit's the cleanest one. It's just like a kit. It looks like a kit. It is just a kit.
I like how the emblem's in the middle.
That's
Mm,
cool.
I feel like that one's not. I feel like that one's not real.
I don't know. I think I've seen it. I've seen it with that, and I've seen it with gray and a gray stripe in the middle.
Really?
Yep, those are the two I've seen it. So,
Hmm.
like that one right there. See that one?
No. Oh yeah, no, that's the fourth kit. I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about that. Yeah,
Oh.
Thomas is probably gonna have.
Now
four
I
kits.
like that.
Yeah, I think that's
That's
clean.
that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's good.
which I can't
Yeah.
remember tell you the last time we had a fourth kit, but we have one this year. So I don't
Yeah.
really know why.
Yeah, that looks nice. Go to
Doesn't have
Chelsea's.
very
Go to
Chelsea.
Chelsea's. Yeah. I haven't seen anything from the home kit, but the away kit and the third kit looks. I want to throw up when I see that.
It
It
looks like
first of all, it
Crystal
looks like
Palace.
Crystal Palace, and then second of all, why the heck is Chelsea red?
Ew.
That looks stupid.
Ew.
Is that their sponsor?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they changed their sponsor. Yeah, yeah, because
What
they're,
is that? That looks like a kit you buy at a Marshall.
Right now. Yeah, so that's going to be their sponsor.
Crystal Palace fans ought to be like shaking.
I
know.
hate the number. I hate the number.
That's
It's
awful.
It should be like blue and white, or blue and yellow, or yellow and white.
It should just
I
be
don't
a
understand why
regular
they keep trying
number.
these random colors, especially red. Like, come on,
What's their home kit?
They don't have
Oh,
one.
they haven't.
go to the away kit.
They
You know
haven't.
That
Like,
one's
it's
that's
decent.
nice.
Oh, that's
It's decent,
cool.
yeah.
That's good.
That's nice.
That's good.
That's. I
That's
wouldn't mind a Pulisic away jersey.
Yeah.
Well, that Chelsea white jersey this season, he's clean.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite jerseys. I tried to convince Riley to buy it, and he was like, "No, I want to buy a home kit."
If you share my if I can share my screen, I actually have some links pulled up
Yeah.
about ours. Okay, so this is from a website or not a website, just a Twitter account, Everton Designs.
Ooh.
Oh, that's nice.
This is
Yeah.
like once the Hummel stuff leaked. This was
Oh, right, yeah. Hummel has some really clean shoulders.
that he came up with. And like I don't know, I really like that one. This one is just clean. That's basically what he does. He really just does really clean designs that
Yeah.
like too much to screw up. He's like as you can see here, freelance graphic design and marketing student. This was the one. So after we got Ancelotti, there was jokes, I guess, about us being the L4 Azzurri. So this was one that he designed, and this one is. I would love if that's like our third kit. Like that
It
is.
seems like everyone this season wants to do this
Wants to
green
do
with
green.
peach color, though.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I really like that one. That one's
Yeah.
probably my favorite of the three. The white
See, I
one.
like the collar on that one. I really like having collars on kits.
Yeah.
That's why I like our 18-19 kit last season with the color.
Those are just some of the concepts that I've seen. But I mean, like we're not gonna have anything leaked for a while. So.
Yeah, and then last and certainly least, Andy, you want to pull up United's kits?
Yes, I would love to.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Start with the home kit.
I
mean,
haven't seen these yet. So
It's,
I haven't either.
no, it looks like the lava brick in my
It looks
opinion.
like, that looks
This
like a
is
pair
just-
of Live Strong shorts that I have.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's pretty cool.
Looks like the Belgium national team or something.
Yeah, really.
They're both the Red Devils. It makes sense.
True. Let's look at their away.
Their away kit looks like they're trying to join the army.
Ew.
Like, yeah, what's up with this?
No.
No.
I mean, the yellow and the green, it just makes it look like
I
barf.
don't like that.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But it's still not as worse as their third kit, which is based off the famous Dazzle camouflage.
Oh.
No.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh
this
God,
is completely
no!
Oh God! I have to
Versus
watch
foods,
these
but-
games.
It's
yeah.
like the 101 Dalmatians or something.
Dude, I don't know how you'd be able to even look at your teammate if you're wearing that.
It's like zebras.
Dude, honestly,
That
Like-
is That is incredible.
That's terrible.
Come
I don't
on,
like
that
that.
is
That is
dreadful.
oh no.
Who else is leaked? Are there any other leaked ones?
I don't know if there are any other
Oh,
ones.
Newcastle away.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh no!
The throw-up
Buddy.
kid.
Please no.
It's the throw-up kid.
Dude, I can't watch another season of that kit being used.
They're gonna use the Man City throw-up kid.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's
Well, they're
terrible.
having the whole foreign takeover, so they just gotta they're trying to accelerate. Yeah, there's no other
The fact is, no one's bought that kit. They have so many that they could use.
Oh,
Has
man.
anyone else been released?
None of the others have lines under them.
Yeah, I only see Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Newcastle, Man United, Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
That's funny though. Those United kits are gonna be hard to look at. Yeah.
They better come walking into Etihad with that, and then we just tear them up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna be more likely to wear those the white kits or the green kits.
I don't know.
Because I think we only wore last season we had the purple kit as our away kit, and we only wore that like twice. We were like 30 seconds away from having to wear it in the Champions League final. If Ajax had won, we would have had to wear purple. Our third kit was white. So
That would have just been wrong.
oh yeah, would have been terrible.
I think our third kit last year, it was our best kit. Well, I don't know. I really like this is the home kit, and it's just really simple, which I enjoyed. But the third kit last year was like white and had like diagonal stripes, and then like straight down it didn't like faded away. It was really, really nice. We only wore it like twice last year, but we had to wear it for our first game this year.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now. White with the blue and the kind of like that looks
We played
cool.
Crystal Palace, and our away jersey is like salmon, and we didn't have our black jerseys yet. So we had to wear last year's third kit at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, that's the kits are going to be really interesting because I'm pretty sure
The contracts say, or it's going to be honored through the season. So when it eventually comes back, they're still going to, like Liverpool's still going to be wearing New Balance. Whenever it returns, they're not going to change over to Nike once like a certain date passes. But yeah, that's going to be really interesting, especially if Champions League overlaps with the start of next season, like whatever team is in the final.
Having to keep
I'd be wearing
switching
the-
jerseys.
Yeah, no, that would be that'd be weird. But anyways, we're not the only people trying to stay busy during this time and find things to talk about because ESPN put out their own Hall of Fame, which I don't believe y'all have seen yet. So I'm just going to read out these names and see how you react to these. So in no particular order.
How many names are there? How many are there?
5.
Okay.
5. So in no particular order, and you can either talk about these after I say them or we can talk about the end. But Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, Giggs, Scholes, Gerrard.
Goals
Top 5.
was the only really surprising one.
I don't disagree with any of them.
Mm-mm.
I mean, like,
Mhm.
Isn't the official one though only going to be 2 players?
The official one is going to be 2 players,
It's
and
going to
it's
be
been delayed.
Giggs. It's going to be Giggs and Shearer.
is it considered?
Shearer's going to. I think the official one is going to be.
For sure.
It's going to be Shearer because of goals, and it's going to be Giggs because of titles.
Ooh, I mean,
Yeah.
I could argue though for Thierry Henry, but I'd probably say Giggs.
Of course, you could argue for Henry. I think Thierry Henry would definitely be in the second. Yeah.
I could. It's players that have retired though, right? Like from football.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd argue Wayne Rooney, but I can't because he's not retired yet. I would. I'd argue.
When he
Rooney.
retires, I'll argue Sergio Aguero because he leads right now in hat tricks and most goals scored from a non-English player.
Yeah, no, and Aguero definitely will be. It's just if they only do like 2 every year, it's gonna be really.
Next year's Henri definitely.
Definitely.
It'll probably be Henri and Gerrard Gerrard
Lampard.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
about.
I told
I really
I'm
don't know.
gonna throw this one out here, and this is probably just just to test y'all and see what you think. But would you argue Cristiano Ronaldo should go in the Premier League Hall of Fame?
I mean, no,
No,
He didn't play long enough.
he wasn't at his like peak.
right. Yeah, Rooney would go in before him easily.
Even though he did win a Champions League.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I'd
no.
still say no because he didn't play like.
I mean, yeah, David Luiz won a Champions League, right? And we joke about that all the time.
So
do
we're
you think
saying
he
so
goes in the Hall of Fame?
basically because his career at Real Madrid was way much better
Yes.
than United.
I mean,
Yeah,
like, you can't.
even if he had just played at United, and then when he, like, let's say he moved, instead of moving to Real Madrid, at that same time he just stopped playing. I don't think that his career exclusively at United would have even constituted, without even taking into account Real Madrid, would have constituted a Hall of Fame.
I think
That's
like him. Like I know he won a Champions League, but like Luka Modric is a really good example of a player that's a superstar player, won the Ballon d'Or, but that didn't. But like he didn't play that well for Tottenham. You know, like it's like he played for us for 3 or 4 years, but he didn't play that well for us. That it was like unbelievable. Like Vidic could get in over Ronaldo. You know, Rio Ferdinand over Ronaldo.
I would argue that like Robbie Fowler and Michael Owen would get in.
Gary
over
Lineker.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just throwing out the Liverpool examples because I'm the most familiar with them. But like Robbie Fowler has the most Liverpool goals in the Premier League with 128, which is 8 over Steven Gerrard's 120. And Michael Owen won the Ballon d'Or in 2001.
Duncan.
So I would think that they're more likely to get in over Ronaldo. So
Yeah.
I could see Vincent Kompany and Yaya Toure getting in for City. I think especially Vincent Kompany.
Vincent Kompany for sure. I just if they want this to be as exclusive as they're saying they are, I don't think they're gonna like. I think it will take years, like decades, even to get like as many players that are worthy in. But I mean, like, are they gonna do managers and stuff? Because if it's like you could have theoretically, if you do 2 players and 2 managers, the first 2 are going to be Giggs and Shearer, and then Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. Like that would just make sense. Which I kind of
say that they're doing managers.
I don't know. I really
I
don't know.
haven't heard anything about that. It would be an interesting concept, though.
I mean, like you're gonna tell me that Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger don't deserve to get in? They absolutely do. They're arguably the 2 greatest managers of all time. You know, I mean, I
would say Premier League wise.
yeah. But like, and like Sir
Football
Alex
didn't start in 1993.
No, I know, but Sir Alex is
Throwing that out there.
you know, I think Arsene Wenger is an unbelievable manager. But like Sir Alex was just, I mean, he's unbelievable.
Well, no one's going to win as many titles as him.
No, I don't think so.
Sir Alex is the Nick Saban of Premier League football.
He is.
I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be interesting. And I wonder if this whole ESPN FC Hall of Fame thing, if they're going to be adding in another 5 next season, and what I'm interested to think who would be the next 5 that they would add in after Henry, Shearer, Giggs, Scholes, and Gerrard. Like Lampard definitely.
I think Vidic deserves in.
Ferdinand or Vidic, one of the 2, maybe both.
Honestly, Vincent Kompany. In all honesty,
Yeah,
Vincent Kompany deserves in. I mean, he's one of the best defenders ever to play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Eden Hazard.
No. He didn't score. He didn't score a goal for.
I think
a
Wayne
year.
Rooney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're only going to be taking into account like their contributions in the Premier League, because like Ian Rush played through all the 80s and then played like 1 or 2 seasons in the Premier League.
I know
But,
that. I know
yeah.
the official one is. The official one is just for the Premier League.
The official one is definitely just for the Premier League.
The Premier
Yeah.
League.
I think Tim Howard should get in just because he scored a goal as a goalkeeper.
I mean, so did Asmir Begovic, but like,
Yeah.
it was gorgeous. I love watching it every time it pops up on my news feed.
Didn't the wind blow that
Yes.
ball?
The wind blew it a lot. That was the whole issue, is that the wind was swirling around, so the goalie just had no clue, and it just bounced right over his head. That's my second favorite Everton goal that I was like wasn't a fan at the time, like didn't watch, but I love to see that one. And then there's a volley. I think it's like James McFadden or something. The ball like comes out, and he goes to hit it like first time on a volley, but a defender rushes out, so he slows down, taps it up, and then goes around the defender and then volleys it in again. It's just ridiculous. It's just something that like I've never seen happen on a soccer pitch. Sorry.
Yeah, speaking of good memories,
You're welcome.
Think of these transitions.
another spot on transition. Just riffing here. I thought that we would end this episode on a happier note, going back in time to think about some of the good times when Premier League was played every weekend, and we could go out to the supermarket without having to wear a mask, and we could actually go and do things. But I want to hear from you. I'll start off, but I want to hear from everyone their favorite memory all time of just football memory. So, I mean, I've been watching for a long time. I've been watching since 2005, but probably my greatest memory has got to be last season against Barcelona. I mean, easily the most incredible match that I have watched, and I remember watching. I watched Istanbul at least 10 times, but just watching that and being there in the moment, reacting to it, especially, I mean, it was really halftime for that week. That week was just dread, thinking about this game, thinking about who we're going to have to start. Mo Salah being out because of injury, and resting all of our hope on the GOAT, Divock Origi, to defeat the true GOAT, Lionel Messi. I mean, it was just one of those unforgettable games, right? And I mean, who would have thought that subbing out Andy Robertson for Dini Wijnaldum at halftime would just have the impact that it did? I mean, Gini scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. So it was just such an incredible game. And sure, it led on to an even more incredible game. I know David knows a lot about that game afterwards. But yeah, I think just winning the Champions League elevated the importance of that game. Right, because it was already such a great result, but then the following game, having won that, it was like miracle on ice, right? Because I mean, USA didn't beat the Russians in the final; they beat them in the semifinal, right? But everyone talks about that game, and I think this is a very similar situation. And I mean, I watch corner taking Quigley at least once a week, at least.
And you remind me of it about every other day.
That's why we have it in the intro. But yeah, that's my favorite memory. And I guess Andy, you can go next.
I was gonna say last year, just because City reeled off 14 straight games, and of course Vincent Kompany's rocket goal was the winner, and then eventually 4-1 over Brighton to seal the deal. But I'm actually going to go back to 2017. I think was actually one of my favorite moments. It was actually when I was able to go to my first Premier League game in London against Crystal Palace, it was a 0-0 draw, but Ederson had to save a penalty at the end to keep it 0-0. And I think really it was just cool to be there, because I think, watching it on the TV and you're like, oh, we're so far away, but then like actually being there in person is like so much different. And it was fun. Like, it's such a different atmosphere in the Premier League. Like, you think of like football games here, but like it's totally different. Like, the fact that people are singing and like cheering like the whole game, and it's like, normally like with football it's like, so it's stop and start and people cheer during the play and stuff like that, but like, it's just continuous, and like the fans are so passionate. And like I was really impressed with like the Crystal Palace fans. They have such a great atmosphere, such a great stadium, and I think that was just like the most fun, is like being in London on a soccer Saturday. Because there were other, we ran into other people in train stations, like going to Chelsea games or Tottenham games or Arsenal games, because I think everyone was playing at home that weekend. So it was just kind of fun just being around that whole atmosphere, and like everyone, in the morning waking up and like heading out to the games on the trains.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm jealous that you got to go one day. Tanner, go ahead.
Okay, so I only started following the Premier League, or really any soccer, like last year, starting at the beginning of the season. And like I did research about what team I wanted to follow. I was this close to being a Huddersfield fan. So I made the best choice out of the three that I was narrowed down to. But so for me, it was nothing from this year at all. Ooh. Take that back. So it's three. I have three things. First one was Arsenal at home last year, where Jags scored his last Everton goal, and it was like 1-0 to win the game. It was an awful game. It was disgusting to watch, and we won it on a long throw in from Luka Dean that just got like knocked down to Phil Jagielka that he put it in. Man United 4-0 at Goodison last year was very, very nice to watch. Richarlison had that bicycle kick like thing that was incredible, and then Luka Dean had a shot that David De Gea could have saved it, but he apparently just didn't see it, and it was just a rocket. I guess I don't know what happened there, but that was a very good game to watch, and I know it meant a lot to some Everton supporters. I know Raj Bennett from Men in Blazers,
Yeah.
with his family and like recorded like something of it. It was really interesting to see. But then whatever game it was that Duncan attacked the ball boy who were celebrating, that was just really cool to see that like outpouring of emotion, especially after dealing with the really hard season that we had been to that point.
Yeah, that's big dunk. Undefeated, if I'm not mistaken.
Never mind.
Yeah, David, we'll close with you.
So I mean, if I don't choose, it could be, Lucas Moura in the semifinal last year was probably the biggest. Either that or the Manchester City second round game with the VAR. That both, I mean, extremely raw emotion, come out. It's kind of like the kick six for Auburn. It's very similar, raw emotion, and a moment you'll never forget. But if I had to pick something, there's actually two that aren't that. Those are definitely up. Those are definitely, some moments. But the last game against Manchester United in the old White Hart Lane, which was the final game for us to be undefeated at White Hart Lane, was just I watched that, and to see the fans just how important it was for everybody to win that, not only win that game, beat Manchester United, but like just be at home. That stadium was so important to us. And we knew what the next year was going to hold, being at Wembley, and how important that game was to win. But the year that we were in the group of death for the group stages of the Champions League back in 2017, when it was Borussia Dortmund, us, and I don't remember who the other Inter Milan, and when we beat Real Madrid, who had just won the Champions League and would win it again that year at home, 3-1. It was the biggest surprise I think I've ever had in my entire life, knowing that the best team in the world was coming to play us at Real Madrid. Gareth Bale was coming home, like all the emotions, and we came out and beat them, and didn't beat them like, having to come back. Beat them. Is just a memory I have deep down. I remember just a very similar Christian Eriksen goal back in 2016 against Crystal Palace when Chelsea was leading and we were chasing. And we were at 0-0 in the 86th minute, and Eriksen hit a 35-yard absolute, there are memories that you have in soccer that I think are things you will never trade, moments you will never forget, just like the kick six. You'll never forget where you were. You never forget watching that game. I wasn't even an Auburn fan. I remember, it's just like things that you remember. Probably the best soccer memory, though, was when Barcelona came back and beat PSG in the last minute in the Champions League in 2016. That's the best soccer memory I've ever had. And that's not even my team. I think soccer brings – I think it's one thing that I really would like – I hope it's safe and, the players come back and they can play without getting sick. That's most important. But I think right now the world needs sports, especially. It's a tough time for everybody, but I think the world needs sports right now, whether it's the NFL draft next week, the NBA coming back this summer, baseball, soccer. The world needs it. Countries need it because sports are a way for us to relieve our emotions in a way that we don't know how to do otherwise. So I think that thinking of good memories like that is a great way to finish the show.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. What a great note to end on. Hopefully it'll return sooner rather than later, and we can all have some respite from all the feelings that we're having right now. So that's going to do it for our show, our special Zoom meeting. Thank you for watching. Remember to stay safe, and thank you.